Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm here with ASL Season 8 Power Rankings post-draft. Now, ASL is a league that's been going on for quite a while. It's probably one of my favorite leagues of all time. Shout out to Ryan. He's been keeping it going for years now. And, yeah, I'm not going to waste much time and just get straight into it. So, first of all, these teams are objectively my opinion. I didn't take into account any sort of calculations or any of that. I will be looking at cores, very common cores, as well as synergy. Those are two things that I kind of really like. Then again, a great team could be used horribly by a bad player. A bad team could be used incredibly well by a good player. Doesn't matter. This is simply just sort of the hard-coded statistics, right? So, without any doubt, let's just get straight into it, right? First team is me. I'm not gonna be ranking myself just simply because I don't think it's very useful. For me to be ranking myself in power rankings, it would be kind of counterintuitive. So, my team consists of Gengar, Talonflame, Aromatisse, Gothitelle, Dottler, Como, I forgot that thing's name for a second, Seismitoad, Rotom Cut, Copperajah, Obstagoon, and Raboot. So I think personally my team, I like it. I did try to draft this team for a while too. The Snipes did come along, especially with that Steel type. I was originally looking at Bisharp, then Bisharp got taken. I was looking at Scizor, then Scizor got taken, Durant, all that type of stuff. I ended up with Copperajah, not the best, but it does help my Trick Room options on this team, which is pretty interesting. I got Trick Room with Copperajah, as a Trick Room abuser, actually. I can set up Trick Room with the Aromatisse, Gothorita, I got Gengar if I want to. I have Priority with Talonflame, which is pretty cool, and Kamoa, which is very, very versatile. So that's pretty much what I'll be talking about my team. But for now, I won't be ranking myself in any of these PRs. So technically, number 20 or number 19 exactly, it'll be Soar or Soar, I don't know, Soar probably. So Soar's got a team of Zeraora, Blastoise, Frostmoth, Liepard, Fraxure, Togekiss, right? He's got Corsola, Flapple, Quillfish, Beware, and Golisopod. Now, this team isn't bad. It's got Zeraora. Zeraora is great. But in reality, I look at this team and I'm like, what are you really trying to accomplish, I don't see much offense for this to be just a straight-up hyper-offense draft, and I don't see this like a good mix for it to be balanced. It's just a strange draft in general. Zeraora, Blastoise, and Togekiss does have a little bit of chemistry right there, which is cool. But aside from that, I mean, he doubled up on typings with Blastoise and Quillfish, and even Golisopod. I mean, I'm not the type of person to flame someone for taking double typings, but I don't think that 3 water type core was the best choice for your team. Granted, this is a 20-person draft, so I don't know how many times you got sniped or what your original plans were, but as of now, I don't think this team is that great. You do have, like I said, some great options. You got Zeraora and Togekiss, which are great. Liepard is really good support mon. Golisopod's got some priority. Very, very, very niche picks, but as a whole, not the best team. So let's move on to number 18, which is Berciamo, right? Berciamo. Now you look at Dracovish, right? And you're like, why is a team with Dracovish almost last place in PRs? I don't think this team was built around Dracovish. Typically, you would look at a team, kind of pick out a mon to build around, right? And I would assume that this team was Dracovish, but I don't think it's great. I mean, you got Dracovish and Darmanitan, which I doubt a lot of teams are be able to keep up with that, and you got Webs as well, which is great. But you have a double Psychic core, right, of Alakazam and Mr. Rime, which, I mean, they basically do the same thing. It's just Mr. Rime is a lot slower and gets spin, which I guess could be something. But I don't see this team being too well. I mean, you have hazard stack options with Skarmory. That's great. You got Sticky Webs, like I said before, with Ribombay. That's great as well. Pyukumuku, on the other hand, that's a mon that I do want to just say that fits well on this team. I don't think Dracovish should always be the first option for a water type, right? And if you draft it, I think that you should draft a bulkier water with it. But yeah, I also, the lower pick of Linoon and the Dene, I don't think that fits this team too well. I mean, I know you need a dark type, but there's also Poniard. Poniard would have been good, even though you're doubling up on steals, you know. It's just the team that I don't know what you're doing with. But to be fair, I mean, maybe that's good to your advantage. Maybe you take a team that no one knows what you're gonna do with, and just surprise them. But yeah, as of now, you're gonna be number 18, Berciamo. Dracovish is a beast. You just gotta use it well. Let's move on. Number 17, we got Ty. Ty, man, you're amazing, Ty. You're a great person. Not the best battler, but you're a great person. I really commend you for sticking there. This team, one thing that I do gotta say, right? What's up with this triple water core, right? We saw that already with Soar. This is yet another triple water core. It's Vaporeon and Quagsire, which if you put those two together, I would assume, you know, maybe it's not that bad. You just get an electric immunity. A grass immunity, and you'll be fine, you know. But then you also add Politoed to the team. Now, if you had maybe a rain abuser besides Heliolisk, I would say, well, you know, maybe Politoed is good. But I'm just confused. I could kind of see where you're going with this team. I see you're going with like rain and then some things that are weak to fire, so you can balance it out. You got like Bisharp, you got Vespiquen, you got, you know, Whimsicott. But it's just strange, man. Also, I think Alolan Marowak is not the best pick on this team, especially if you got the rain, because Alolan Marowak really relies on that breaking potential. So, aside from that, this team has got some Trick Room options. I guess just one Trick Room option, or no, two, because Whimsicott gets it as well. But yeah, it's a strange team. I do think the core, quote unquote, of Politoed and Bisharp is going to be pretty interesting, and I don't think a lot of teams are going to deal with Bisharp too well. Just a lot of people like to draft webs, including myself. A lot of people like to have Intimidate on their team, and just Bisharp is a good mon to kind of neutralize all that. So yeah, Ty, that's going to be it. Where are we? This is 20, 19, 18, 17. So Ty, you were 17. At number 16. Well, actually, I have notes. I don't know why I had to go back and forth. Yeah, number 16. Number 16, we got Gil. Or Gwil. He's never clarified how to say it, so I'm just going to say Gil for now. So, yeah, Gil, you're going to be number 16. Now, this is simply because, yet again, it's just a strange team. You got Cinderace and Kyurem. Incredible core. No one's going to be able to deal with that. I can assure you, nobody. A lot of teams bulk rely on Skarmory, Corviknight, Amoonguss, shit like that, and I don't think a lot of teams will be able to deal with Cinderace and Kyurem. That's gonna be simple. You do have Slowking, which is a great pair with those two, and Toxicroak, but then again you have Gardevoir. Gardevoir just kind of strange. I think a bulkier fairy would have fit this team really nice. Just if you would have had maybe a double cleric core with the offense that you bring on this team, I think that would have been fire. For example, I mean, Gardevoir. So it's really gonna be up to whether or not you use Gardevoir correctly on this team. Just because Gardevoir's got that teleport, it's got some support options like Thunder Wave and Trick Room and stuff like that. But yeah, I actually think Palossand is a pretty good fit on this team. It's got that Water Compact. It's gonna get, you know, a special attack boost, I believe it is. So yeah, I think Sharpedo is also a really good fit on this team. Sharpedo with that Palossand, gonna be pretty decent. Grass spam on your team could be annoying, but you do have some great options like Cinderace and Kyurem and stuff like that, and even Toxicroak to take that out, you know. I also do want to state a lot of these teams are great. It's a 20-person draft, so it's kind of like everyone's going to end up with a mediocre team. And I just kind of got to rank that mediocre team, you know, against other mediocre teams. But yeah, Gil, you are going to be number 16. Like I said, you got a great team. You got some great cores. Cinderace, Sharpedo, Kyurem, those are going to be great. But I think you lack a little bit of bulk. And like I said, maybe a bulkier fairy. I don't know if you were going for Aromatisse and I sniped that, but that's what I gotta say. We got number 15. We got Octa Cannon, right? You see, I looked at this team originally and I'm like, wow, this team is good. But then I'm like, not really. You got Hawlucha and Volcarona, which you took two of the best setup sweepers. Especially and physically, that's insane. But Hawlucha really, I think Hawlucha requires a lot of creativity if you don't have a terrain or you just want to go with the citrus or the sky attack set. I've never seen Octa battle, so I don't know what he has. But like I said, Hawlucha is going to take a little bit of creativity to be able to use. See, for another issue I have with this team is that for Volcarona being a 20-point mon, he didn't build the team too well around it, considering that it looks like you're just going to be bringing heavy duty boots or defog Weezing every single week. Because I don't think you want to spend a move on Rapid Spin on Sandslash. Actually, no, you have defog on Rotom as well, which isn't bad. But, that's going to force your Rotom, you're going to want it offensively most of the time. It's not the bulkiest of ghost types. I don't think it'll stick around for that long. But yeah, you're going to be limited to heavy duty boots on what's this thing's name? On Volcarona, or you're always going to have defog on Weezing. So, after using Weezing for a whole league, almost, it's the 4-move syndrome really hits you. You're going to want that stab move, either one of the two. You're going to want some coverage. You also want some spikes on it, and then you're going to bring defog. It's going to take out the spikes. You know what I mean? It's very, very limited. That's why I said Volcarona, even though Volcarona and Weezing is very, very good together, you're going to kind of limit yourself to heavy-duty boots most of the time. Aside from that, I think the Basculin pick is very, very good. It's got flip turn, adaptability, very good. It's fast mon, It's got Aqua Jet, so priority. I think the Hail Core is pretty interesting too, just because I think the Hail Core helps Volcarona. I mean, Sandslash has got some ground attack moves, to take out other fire types, as well as Basculin could do that as well with priority. Sandslash can set up with a sword stance. Abomasnow has Aurora Veil as well, so it can help set up Hawlucha and Volcarona. So those are some interesting dynamics. It's just mostly the picks in between that aren't really built around Volcarona too well. I would have honestly loved to see maybe a Skarmory on this team, or Corviknight. I know Corviknight got franchised, but a Skarmory on this team over Duraludon, maybe like Skarmory and Gudra core on this team would have been really nice. That's something that I would have maybe considered for my team. But yeah, pretty solid team. Just like I said, some synergies are a little bit off. So that is why you are number 15, Octa. 15. Almost right smack dab in the middle. Also, stay hydrated. I've been talking a lot. Alright, let's move on. We got Harshal with the dodgy Dittos. That is number 14, right? So Harshal's the type of person that I can never count out, right? I can never say this team is bad. You're gonna be worse on the league, just because Harshal's a very creative battler and tends to like some weird shit, to be honest. His team of Rillaboom, Primarina, Bronzong, Confe, Kangaskhan, which is, I was actually looking at the tiers, and Kangaskhan is a really good value pick. Hitmonlee, Chandelure, Dracozolt, Scyther, Hippowdon, Stunky. Now Stunky, why is it there? God knows. You don't have, maybe you wanted it because of the defog, right? I don't know if Comfey gets defog, but otherwise you're going to be limited to Rapid Spin on Hitmonlee, sorry, and defog on Scyther, which I don't think you'd want to waste a move on Scyther to defog. But I don't know if the Sandrush got revealed yet for Dracozolt, but if it did, I mean, Dracozolt and Hippowdon, pretty interesting core right there, pretty interesting. Rillaboom is good. Rillaboom is definitely good. And I could see some Rillaboom and Hitmonlee shenanigans. That's what I'm going to be assuming that you drafted that for. But aside from that, Rillaboom and Primarina, pretty decent core. You have some rocks potential, with Hippowdon and Bronzong, which is interesting because I don't think Bronzong is the best mon. I used to think it was amazing, but now it's just kind of a sitting duck. But like I said, you have rocks options with those two. You have Trick Room options as well, which could be very interesting if you want to bring a slower Primarina as well. Now, the only issue I have with this team is that I don't see you bringing Stunky effectively, right, for 2 games, which I know is an ASL rule usually. I don't see you bringing that effectively. And maybe you bring like a Sash Defog, or if it gets Endeavor, maybe like a Sash Endeavor set. But aside from that, I don't see you bringing that Stunky effectively. You're just going to have to be literally a 5v6 for 2 weeks. But aside from that, I do think the team is interesting, and I do think Harshal will be able to use it well. Like I said, because Harshal's a very, very well-versed battler. So Harshal, that is why you are number 14. 14, right? And now number 13, we got Ghostmans. Now, Ghost last season played really well. And I don't remember if he used Morgrim or Grimmsnarl. I know he used one of the two last season, and he used it pretty well. Now, the only reason why I didn't rank him higher, because I know that he likes to use that screens offense type of thing, is that this isn't really that team. Last season he had either Grimm or Morgrim, I forgot which one it was, along with Necrozma, which is one of the best setup sweepers in the league. And now he has Dragapult. I mean, maybe Power Trip Incineroar. There's very limited setup options, so this Morgrim on this team is kind of just there for support. It's not there to be the win con as usually it will be. Crustle. I'm not counting out Crustle and Butterfree, never mind. But you have some interesting teams. You have Trick Room potential. Don't think you have a setter on it, but your team could use a setter. I mean, you got Rhyperior. And Incineroar is not the fastest, Miltank is pretty fast. Miltank is fast. So the few things that I do gotta commend this team is that you got almost a perfect balance of hazard setters and removers, right? You've got Miltank, you got Crustle, you got Rhyperior, Miltank, Crustle, and Rhyperior. Those are gonna be your setters, right? And then you got Hitmontop, you got Skuntank, and you got Rotom, right? So the good thing about that is that that's a team in itself, 6 mons, right? Your opponent isn't going to know which one is going to be defogging, which one is going to be setting up hazards, or maybe you want to bring it on all of them, For example, let's say I have a faster mon than a Rotom, right? If I see a team that has no defog potential and just a Rotom, I'm going to assume that Rotom is going to be defogged, and I just taunt it. He's not going to defog, But on this team, he's got 2 defoggers and a spinner. So, more often than not, you are going to be bringing Skuntank as the defogger. But, very, very, very versatile team. Just like I said, I don't see the synergy. Maybe Ghost wants to switch up his playstyle this season, but I'm not sure about that. Dragapult, Incineroar, great. Do gotta say that. So yeah, that is why you are number 13. And number 11, number 12. I can't count. So number 11, we got, whoa, my camera. Well, what's going on, my camera? There you go. All right, so what's up? We're back. Like I never left, Number 12, you got Bryn. Bryn's got a threatening team, but very very weak, to say the least. Terrakion, Weavile, Azumarill. It seems like you just wanted to draft just straight breakers. You got Celebi. Celebi is a good fit on this team just because it matches up well with Terrakion. It matches well with Tentacruel, stuff like that. Now, the reason why I think this team is just a little weak is that defensively, right, you have barely any switches to fire. Tentacruel, I mean, it's very, very bulky, but doesn't have any sort of recovery. You don't have any sort of wish passing on this team. So it's, unless you healing wish on Celebi, you know that Tentacruel is going to be very, very easy to wear down. Same thing with Druddigon. Druddigon can switch into those fire moves, but no recovery. Same thing with Stunfisk. Stunfisk is bulky enough, but then again, no recovery. And Karkle, I mean, then again, no recovery. Now, that's the one thing I see on this team. But if Bryn is able to overpower his opponents with, let's say, Hazard Stack with a Selgor, and then just go ahead and just Choice Banded Terrakion with Quick Attack, or SD Stash, or Belly Drum Aquajet Azu, Choice Banded Ice Shard. You know, he's got some great priority and Hazard Stack potential that I do think this team is going to be good, but on paper, it's not the best team, which is why I can't put you too high, because I need you to discover the potential of your team and then go ahead and show me why your team is better than what I assumed it was. And that's why this is the post-draft PRs. You know, after every week, you have your chance to show me that, you know, your team is good. But aside from that, like, you have some great Hazard Stack potential. You got Karkle, you got Stunfisk, you got a Selgor, you got Celebi even if you want to. But I on this team, Celebi is going to have to be offensive. It's going to have to be offensive. If honestly you had a Cleric on this team, a normal type, let's say, if you would have taken Lickitung, right, instead of Karkle, Lickitung, this team would have been a lot better, just because I would have assumed you're drafting some sort of semi-stall team. But on this team, I just, that's all I can say, So yeah, Bryn, that is why you are number 12. You're number 12. Almost at the halfway mark. Pork. It's my boy. He's going to be at number 11. Let's take a sip of water. So the reason why I got Pork at number 11 is because, man, this team is strange, bro. I would say it's borderline bad. But honestly, the cores are pretty interesting. Escavalier and Mantine are going to be pretty good together. Mantine's incredibly bulky, especially. Escavalier could take some hits barring for fire type moves. So, you got Mantine, and you even got what's that thing called? Colossal. That's pretty good. You got that NFE Fairy Dragon core of Togetic and Hakamo, which is interesting as well. But yeah, I mean, it's mostly those lower picks that I'm gonna really praise, like Serena and Colossal and stuff like that. Now, one huge core that I hope that Pork uses well is gonna be Alolan Persian and Necrozma. Now, it's literally his first and his last pick, but I think are probably gonna be his two powerhouses this season, because Alolan Persian is gonna allow Necrozma to get pretty much a safe switch in every single time with Parting Shot, lowering his opponent's special attack and attack, right? Necrozma could easily come in, Cosmic Power, it can Swords Dance, it could Autotomize. That is why Necrozma is 20 points, and I think that Pork really uses his points wisely. I think that he just took 120 point Mon, supported it well with very, very low tier picks, but some pretty decent ones. Now, Another thing I would like to point out is that your rocks are interesting. Your setup potential are very interesting, just because you have fast Lycanroc, which could do it. Maybe Sash Endeavor lead is pretty decent. Is Sandaconda? I don't think is the best ground type. So let's just throw that out there. On this team, Colossal's gonna have to be defensive most of the time, and then you also got Hakamo, which could set up rocks. I don't know how fast Hakamo is, and I'm not going to check. It's probably around base 80. No, I mean, since Kamo is around base 80, Hakamo has to be like base 70, probably. But we'll just leave it at that. It's very, very interesting team. Like I said, that core of Necrozma and Alolan Persian, I'm very excited for. Very excited for. And to be fair, I could see Necrozma being MVP. You just got to play well. That's all I got to say. Just play well. So that's right at the halfway point. Ooh, halfway points. We got Moonlight. So really, I like Moonlight's team. This is the type of team that I would maybe draft for myself, but it's not the most conventionally good team, right? You got Jirachi and Mandibuzz, pretty good core, but your fire type switches are only limited to Lantern and Turtonator, right? With a team that kind of relies on Jirachi, right? You need something else, right? Jirachi and Lanterns share weaknesses. Jirachi and Turtonator share weaknesses. Jirachi and Mandibuzz is probably the best core on this team, but aside from that, I don't think the cores fit too well. That's the only thing I gotta judge on this team. I do like the team. I do think it's very, very powerful. Mienshao and Jirachi and Porygon Z are incredible. Those are mons that I would always stand by. And even Mimikyu. Mimikyu, if you use it wisely, it could be great. It could be definitely great. One mon that I think a lot of people are going to overlook, including myself, I kind of brushed over it when I was first looking at the team, is Inteleon. Inteleon could easily chunk half out of every mon and just clean up. It's fast. It can get crits. It has priority too, in case you guys didn't know. You just got to use that well. Inteleon, I feel like it could be a little dark horse on this team. But aside from that, I already said this. Jirachi is incredible. Mienshao is incredible. Porygon Z is incredible. Lantern is great. On this team, just doesn't fit too well. Moonlight, I really don't have much to judge on this team besides that. And this is probably the quickest the quickest power ranking I got through on this one. And that's why you're number 10, right smack dab in the middle. Solid team. Not much I can say. Number 9, we got Nickinator, right? Now here's where I'm going to get really critical, Nick. I think your team is great. I looked at it and I was like, wow, this is probably one of the best teams. And then I look at Charizard and I look at Venusaur on this team and I'm like, what are you doing? I don't see any Sun, to be fair. And looking at the team, right? You got Goodra, you got Scizor, you got Goodra, Scizor, you got Mamoswine, and even Jellicent. I think this team could have really used Rain. Rain on this team would have been great, right? Your Scizor would have halved the damage of fire moves. You already got Thick Fat on Mamoswine, so I mean you're basically taking nothing from fire moves. Goodra has hydration and can click thunders, you know. This team would have really used Rain. Now, I know that Nick had originally said that, I mean, Nick kind of revealed that he was going for Bolton, right? He revealed that his electric type wasn't going to be very useful of Thunders, right? And there I agree. But Thunder isn't the only thing that benefits your team with Rain, man. You have Scizor. Like I said, Scizor would have been incredible in that Rain. And if you maybe even kept Charizard, right? You kept Charizard. Just spam Hurricane in the Rain. Charizard has got pretty decent special attack. I mean, if you just slap a choice specs on it, Hurricane is going to be chunking teams, you know. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I wish Wingull got Drizzle, because you could just slap Wingull instead of Venusaur and boom, call it a day. But yeah, this team is good. This team is good. You got Oranguru, which is very interesting. It's got some Trick Room options. Your team can't really use Trick Room too well aside from Scizor. And then again, I mean, you don't need it because Scizzor's got priority. It's got some okay speed. It's not the best, but it's got some okay speed. But that's pretty much all I got to say about this team. Oh, and Slurpuff. Don't sleep on Slurpuff. That's all I got to say. Don't sleep on Slurpuff. But yeah, Nick, you're going to be number 9. Number 9. Number 8, we got Galactic. Now, this is yet another judgment on your choice of weather that I gotta choose, right? I know Rio took Rain. I know he did, and we're gonna discuss that in literally one pick. Rio took Rain, right? But there's other Rain setters, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sure Politoed is around. Ty took it. You know, Ty took Politoed, but Sun on this team, it doesn't work at all. It doesn't work. You have Ferrothorn in Sun. What are you doing with that? You know, unless you're bringing a Solar Beam Ferrothorn, that's something you got to be woke enough to use. Yes, you have Shiftry. You know, that's good, but I would have maybe replaced that Ferrothorn for, let's say, Skarmory. Right, and even, I mean, Skarmory in Sun is not the best, but it's better than Ferrothorn, to be fair. And then you could still keep Shiftry, not have that dual grass type in Sun. And then maybe replace Drifloon for like Haunter or something. I think that would have made your team pretty good. To be fair, I do think your team is very interesting because you have the speed with the Chlorophyll on the Sun, right? You have Sucker Punch as well, which you're not going to need the speed for. You could run Special or Physical with Shiftry. I think Shiftry is pretty awesome. And then you have some pretty interesting Trick Room potential as well. Drifblim, you got Malamar, and then you got some Trick Room abusers. Like, I mean, Araquanid in Trick Room is nothing to joke about. But then again, bro, you have see, Galactic, the more I look at your team, the more mad I get, because it could have been amazing, right? If either you didn't draft Sun or you drafted Rain. Because shit, man, I know Galactic likes his rain, his weather. He used sand, I believe, last season. Oh no, he used rain last season, right? But yeah, Galactic, man, you just got me mad. You just got me heated. But yeah, point is, your team is interesting. It could be really good. It's got some great potential. But if you ever bring Ninetales, and you're gonna have to bring it. If you ever bring Ninetales, your team is very affected. That's all I gotta say. Clefable Ferrothorn, though, incredible. That is number 8. Number 8, right? And moving on, we got Rio. Yet another rain team or weather team, right? These teams have ranked very highly, just because weather's incredible. Now Rio's team, if you look at it, it's incredibly threatening, but with so much weather going around, and your team is fully reliant on the rain, fully, not even like a core, like Galactic has just a Sun core with Ninetales and Shiftry, right? But your team is fully reliant on that rain. You know, I don't see Dreadnought doing anything outside of rain besides maybe Sash Rocks. I don't see Poliwhirl doing anything out of rain besides maybe Belly Drum, and then again, you're slow as shit. Kingdra could use, without the rain. Corviknight could use without the rain, but then again, you're exposing yourself to thunders, So you really look at this, right? You built a team perfectly around this rain, right? You got Corviknight, you got Galarian Darmanitan, you got Pelipper, you got Moongus, you got Kingdra, you got Dreadnought, you got Raichu, you got Avalugg, and you got Poliwrath, right? The only 2 mons that aren't sort of relying on that rain are Wigglytuff and Marowak, which actually kind of gets hurt by it. So in that regard, I think that other teams' weathers are going to be very, very, very detrimental to your team. So let's say Galactic, right? If he plays his Sun well, he can beat your team easily. Shiftry could probably run through it. I mean, just got some heat wave potential and stuff like that. So Rio, your team is great, right? But it's going to take a lot of counterplay for you to keep your rain up, especially since you didn't take Politoed with a team that's so reliant on the rain, right? You only have one rain automatic setter, one drizzle user. I don't know, that sounded retarded, automatic setter. One drizzle user on a team that, yet again, is so reliant on the rain. That's all I gotta say. It is a great team. I do see you using it incredibly well. But just due to that, Rio, you are you're 7th. Let's move on to number 6. We got Ryan. Ryan, he likes to draft these either super offensive teams or just a balanced team. And I think that this team is leaning more on the balanced side than it is on the offensive side, right? He has some baton pass capabilities, which is very interesting, especially to something like Keldeo, Life Orb Keldeo, right? If you got, let's say, Life Orb Keldeo, you get a +2 speed boost. Even Scarfers aren't going to be outspeeding you, and Keldeo can easily sweep up teams. Hydreigon, the only bad stat that Hydreigon has is freaking speed, right? If you give some speed to a Hydreigon, you'll do incredibly. And the crazy thing is, Hydreigon and Scolipede have crazy synergy. So by baton passing between them, you're not losing anything. The interesting part also is that you drafted Indeedee. I would have loved to see you slap Hawlucha on this team instead of Keldeo. That would have been so fun. You would have had Baton Pass with Hydreigon, and you would have had Hawlucha with the Seed. It would have been cool. But honestly, this team is good. I like it. I think it's balanced. I don't see any glaring weaknesses. Maybe fire spam on this team could be annoying just because Hydreigon isn't the bulkiest and Rotom isn't the bulkiest. Or Rotom could be the bulkiest, but Hydreigon doesn't have a reliable recovery aside from Pain Split, and you're not really going to want to be relying on that. Like, let's say a Darmanitan just runs through this team, which I don't even know if Darmanitan was drafted. Oh, it was. Yes, it was. By Berciamo, I think it was. But yeah, Darmanitan would just run through this team. But that's very situational. I do like the team, though. I do like the team. The one issue I see is that you're going to be relying on that Baton Pass a lot. But you do have Baton. You have Baton Pass, I think, with Emolga as well. You have Baton Pass with Emolga. So, yeah, I like this team. It just looks like some sort of Baton Pass offense with some capabilities of balance. So I can't really complain. It's a good team. Not the best, but it's a good team. So that's why you are number 6, Ryan. Good job. We got number 5. We got Joestar. Now this is where we get to teams that I love. Right? This is probably the first team that I love. You have Urshifu, Rapid Strike. This is probably a mon that I don't like much, and I've never used in general. I don't think I've used it in OU. I've never used it in draft. But if you really look at his team, right? Urshifu, Tangrowth, and Arcanine, and then you add Sylveon on there, that's just insane to me, right? You add Flygon, which is a great defogger. It's got some great Dragon Dance. It can use special or physical. He drafted Dusknoir, which fits well on this team, honestly. Dusknoir and Zoroark. You could definitely play some mind games with that. Rotom Frost fits incredibly well. Ferroseed, it fits. It doesn't fit as well as you think it does, but it could work, right? Your best fire switching at this point is Flygon, and I don't think you want to be running Flygon defensively every week, but Ferroseed, I guess it's just there for spikes, and you did need a Steel type. I would have on this team. I would have just put a Klinklang, to be honest. A Klinklang on this team would have been interesting instead of that Ferroseed. And Swirlix, I mean, you got Sticky Webs. I mean, Sash Endeavor, I think it's a thing that you get. Sash Endeavor, Unburden, Outspeed, you get a kill plus webs or something, I think this team is very, very good. Very good. I would say the best part of it is probably the top 8 mons of the team. The Urshifu, the Arcanine, Tangrowth, Sylveon, Zoroark, Claydol, that type of stuff. That is incredible. And he has so much potential to play around mind games with Zoroark on this team that it's just incredible. I do see a little bit of a fairy weakness on this team. You're only switching at the point. I wouldn't consider Ferroseed a switching, right? Ferroseed, you're not going to be wanting to bring it that much. Maybe you do. I don't know you. I don't know your playstyle. But maybe you do want to bring it. But like most fairies, they're going to be bringing Mystical Fire. They're going to have Flamethrower. They're going to have coverage for you. So your only switching really is Arcanine, But Sylveon is bulky enough to switch into fairy type moves as long as it's not like a Play Rough from Azumarill. So I think it would be good. But like I said, I love this team. A little fairy weak, but I love this team. So that's why Joestar, you're number 5. Great team. This was a very, very hard decision. I really wanted to put this team like top 3, but you just missed out. Sting. First of all, welcome to ASL. I've never Never battled you, if I'm not mistaken. I don't really know you, but welcome. So this team, I kind of am a sucker for. You got Grimmsnarl, which is probably one of the most versatile mons that you could think of, right? It could be defensive, it could be offensive, it could just be annoying, you know, whatever you really need it to be on this team. You got Aegislash, right? Which, personally, I haven't been able to use it well, but I know it's good. I know it's a good mon. You got Heracross, which this is my bold prediction. I think Heracross is going to be top 5 in MVP. I'm going to say this now, and if you guys actually watch the whole video, comment and say whether I'm wrong or I'm right. But Heracross top 5 in MVP. Just saying that right now. Bro, you got screens and Heracross, right? I don't know what else you would want on this team. Maybe a little bit more of setup options besides just Aegislash. You got Snorlax, which could be really annoying. Sigilyph, bro, that thing is gonna be a pain in the buttocks, bro. You're gonna probably want to cosmic power that every single week, and unless they got haze users, it doesn't matter, man. Like, nothing matters. This team, I'm a huge sucker for. Like I said, it's just mostly revolving around that Grimmsnarl. That Grimmsnarl is going to be very, very interesting. Very interesting. I would say the only bad pick you have on this team is Shiinotic. Shiinotic sucks. I would have maybe just gone for Gloom. I would rather have Gloom than Shiinotic, you know? And that probably would have left you with some more points, because Shiinotic is 6 points. You could have upgraded your... maybe Arctazol, you know? Arctazol could be interesting as well. But mostly you're going to be relying on that Grimmsnarl, setting up Aegislash, just getting some natural bulk with Heracross, you know, stuff like that. If you use it wisely, you'll do great. Another sleeper pick on this team is Stoutland. Stoutland is good. I used it for Civ quite a lot. It's it's a very interesting mon. It has a lot of coverage. It has Scrappy, so you're not gonna worry about ghost types, especially Sableye. you're gonna superpower a Sableye, and that dude is gone. But yeah, Sting, I mean, your team is great. You just fall out of the top 3. You're gonna be number 4. But yeah, I'm a sucker for your team, man. Orlando, let's go, bang bang. Number 3, top three. We got Saigai. I think Kyurem is reigning MVP, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I am, but Saigai got Kyurem. And just think about this, right? Flygon, right, has vowed himself. He has been a very, very devout Kyurem Black follower, right? And whoever takes Kyurem Black, Flygon is going to be their co-coach per se, you know? Just think about Saigai and Flygon, two amazing battlers, literally put together into one team that has Kyurem Black. It's a sad world out there, man. But I do stand by the fact that, for me, I don't think Kyurem Black is the best. But, I mean, it's only worth 20 points, which allowed Saigai to still draft an incredibly crazy borked team. You got Lampent, which I don't know what it's going to do. But I guess he did need a fire and a ghost type, so why not? Like I said, I don't know what it's going to do. And I don't know how fast it is. I would assume it's like base 60. He's got Thwacky, which, yet again, I don't know what it's going to do. But it does have Grassy Surge. It has Grassy Glide as well, so I hope it does. I mostly want to capitalize on the Kyurem Black and Conkeldurr core, right? You wouldn't assume that these two mons weak to Fairy are going to be that good of a core, but I don't think many teams are going to be able to deal with it, right? Let's say, who drafted Clefable? Galactic, I think, drafted Clefable, right? Galactic, let's say, his core, his defensive core of Clefable and Ferrothorn, for example, is just picked apart by Kyurem and Conkeldurr, you know? Galactic's got to get a little bit creative with his sets to be able to beat that, but, you know, that's just a two-core mon, a two-mon core, right, of Kyurem and Conkeldurr that I believe can destroy most defensive cores. Starmie and Salazzle, I feel like Saigai drafted in pairs. If you look at his team, he drafted in pairs, right? He drafted Kyurem, Conkeldurr. He drafted Starmie and Salazzle, which honestly Salazzle is incredible. He drafted Alcremie and Durant. Personally, I don't know what Alcremie does, but I never count out Saigai. He does some weird shit with his mons, so I I can't judge. Rhydon and Braviary is pretty interesting as well. He's got Defog, he's got Rocks, Thwacky and Lampent, I guess, and then Thievul, which is very annoying, very interesting. The one thing I do have to say about this team is that you have one rocker, one setup user, and it's Rhydon. So you're going to be bringing Rhydon every single week if you want rocks, right? You have a great spinner in Starmie. I think I haven't used it yet, but I think with heavy duty boots and recover, it could just come in every single time, get the spin. And with a lot of the relevant ghost types, like for example my Gengar, I wouldn't want to switch into a rapid spin from a Starmie because, well, first of all, it'll be you'll outspeed, and second of all, I risk the Psychic or Psyshock on the switching. So Starmie is a very, very good spinner. And Braviary is a very good defogger as well. Heavy duty boots help out those flying type defoggers a lot. And he's got Defiance as well to switch into that. You know, he's got Sheer Force. I think Braviary is a good mon. This team, I mean, it's top 3. I can't judge it too much. These top 3 teams are very interchangeable, but I believe Saigai, you're the 3rd team. Lampent and Thwacky, that's probably why you're not higher. But I can't knock you any lower because just look at the rest of the monsters you have on your team. But yes, Saigai, you are number 3, man. Let's move on to number 2. We got Con Man Team. Now, Con, I'm gonna be honest with you. I really wish I could like hit you with a bat or something because this team is unoriginal, but it's good. It's good. You literally just stole Saigai's core from last season, but I understand what you're going for. It's literally just a team filled of shit that can beat beat Melmetal. You know, there's no reason to knock that. Heatmore, I love Heatmore. I love Heatmore. I don't know why it's on the team. I think it gets Flash Fire, but I don't know why it's on the team. Vileplume, yet again, I love Vileplume. Vileplume's a great value mon. Pikachu, you sniped me with that Pikachu. I wish I could have taken it. But I think what's mostly to praise is how well you built a team around Melmetal, whether or not you stole the idea from someone else, but you did it. You know, it's very hard in a 20-person draft. You did it. You got Melmetal, right? If you want to deal with fire types, you got Dugtrio to trap, and you got Aqua Jet from Crawdaunt. You know, fighting types, you could switch in your 4 times resist Hatterene. You know, if anyone wants to set up in front of your Melmetal, right, to beat it, you know, you got Ditto. Some really good shit, and you also have Trick Room potential, which my issue right now with that Trick Room potential is that you're either completely reliant on that, or you're just reliant on the Aqua Jet and the trapping from Dugtrio, right? Because your team is not very fast. It does have a lot of priority, but not very fast. I think Pikachu is your fastest mon. No, I mean Dugtrio, but aside from that, Pikachu is your fastest mon. You're not going to want that on your team, but you did build a pretty efficient team around Melmetal, and Melmetal's just a beast. Now, whether or not you use it as well as Saigai did last season, that's up to you. Melmetal's a little bit of a strange mon, but, you know, you got to make the best out of it. It's a very, very interesting team. You drafted a 25-point mon. So that's the risk you got to take. It's a risk you got to take. So, without further ado, we are going to get to number 1. There's only one person left. You guys can assume who it is. And it is Tez. So, I don't have to say much, right? But when you give one of the best mons in the draft league, right? First of all, I don't know why it was 15 points. I know it hasn't been experimented with yet. Maybe next season it will turn into 20, depending. But you gave one of the best players in the league a chance to get one of the best mons in the league, right? He got Urshifu. Single strike, right? So he's going to be critting everything with that Wicked Blow. So I think Tez did really well in crafting a team around that Urshifu. And this is where Tez and Khan are very, very separate, and that's why Tez is first instead of Khan, right? Because Tez took a 15-point mon, which would allow his team to be much better while building it around that Urshifu than Khan's with a 25-point mon, right? Khan, for example, he wasn't able to take some of the best picks, while Tez was still able to take a Slowbro along with his Urshifu, right? Slowbro and Urshifu, crazy core right there. And not to mention that he has Vikavolt, right, which can get webs. He's got Klefki, which can get screens and spikes. And he's got Garbodor, which can get toxic spikes. This team is insane. There's not much that I can say besides it's insane. Urshifu with webs, it literally allows you to bring Banded every single week. What is taking a Banded Wicked Blow? And Banded Wicked Blow, and then what outspeeds you besides, my Talonflame? But, shit like that, it's just insane. Even then, let's say if it's a flying type that is immune to those webs, you have a Cell Rock. Literally, a Cell Rock. That's the mon. It's not like in Rock, it's a Cell Rock. I think this team is great. I think it was crafted incredibly well around that Urshifu, and there's not much I can knock. The only thing maybe I can knock is Octillery, but Octillery, I mean, you guys seem to think that Octillery is a god, so let's see it. Yeah, I would like to make a prediction about Urshifu's MVP status, but I can't just yet. I don't think I can. But, we're going to leave it at that. I think Tez's team is number one. So, yeah, guys, these are the post-draft PRs, right? I have no idea how long I've been recording for, but I think it's time for me to end it. I do want to thank everyone for the ASL draft. I know it took a little bit longer than it was supposed to, but, thanks for actually finishing it. Now, we're going to get very excited for week 1, right, guys? So I'm going to go ahead and sign out. Good luck to all the contestants, ASL Season 8, and see you next week. Peace.